Welcome to the BXG podcast, the podcast where pop culture and nerd culture meet at the nexus of the universe and are melded as seamlessly as Xbox fans and PlayStation fans.
Ooh.
I am one of your hosts, Brenton Beswick, alongside my co-host, the Shamrock Shake connoisseur, Greg Filson. Greg, how are you tonight?
That I am, the Shamrock Shaker. I'm doing well. Had my Shamrock Shake. The one time I have it of the year. One time I really have fast food, unless you count In-N-Out as fast food. I sort of do. It's good food quickly. But yeah, Shamrock Shake. God, it's so good. I think there was a year where they changed the recipe slightly. This was maybe in the early 2000s, and I was super mad, but it's back, baby. It's back. It's my favorite. It's my favorite fast food item, and I'm happy I had it. Are you a fan of the Shamrock Shake, Brendan?
I got a hot take for you. The Shamrock Shake sucks.
You're not. That's not a hot take. I feel like half the people I ask that say it sucks. Either you like that flavor or you don't.
It's a hot take. It's a hot take for me because I'm fat. So this should be right in my wheelhouse. It's a hot take for me too because there's something with my palate. Because to me, the Shamrock Shake tastes like cough syrup.
Sure.
It just tastes. It tastes like total just like garbage.
To me, it's like a Thin Mint.
Garbage. No. Nope. Robitussin.
Did you ever get it mixed? Have you ever tried the chocolate mixed with that? Half and half?
No. Because I'm not a monster.
I never actually did that either.
Shake.
I really just go Shamrock Shake. But no.
I want a chocolate shake extra thick.
You like malt?
Extra thick. That's a Pat Bateman thing.
I know. I was just asking you. I'm going into just...
Get your life together.
You like malt? Malted milkshakes?
Like some malt liquor milkshakes.
I would like to go to the Mercantile in Mercer back in the day and get myself a nice...
I don't know that that's a thing anymore.
I can't imagine it is.
In any case, we have a great show for you tonight. We have a guest. Kevin from Project X Talk is going to be joining us here in a little bit. We have our housekeeping. BXG Podcast publishes every Friday AM, 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 4 a.m. California, Pacific, 2 a.m. Hawaiian, on Podbean, Apple Podcast, Spotify, Amazon. Every time you just screw me up. Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, and other podcast services around the world. Official BXG social media accounts on Facebook.com/BXG Podcast, news and updates, Instagram at BXG Podcast, Twitter at BXG Podcast, YouTube.com/BXG Podcast, where the Coming to America review is currently located. So if you want to check the video version of that review out, it can be seen over there. We had planned to do a 90s themed BXG episode last Thursday, and we had more technical difficulties than Y2K. So we didn't record that, and we're going to bump that back a little bit. We're going to shoot for that again tonight. Not tonight, jeez. Thursday night. Good gravy. So we have that part two of two of Greg on Outrospective was released last weekend. It's really good. I'm telling you. It's both episodes are really good. They're really interesting. They are two people who are very deeply knowledgeable about the content that they're talking about that content. So I highly recommend it. I'll put the link in. But I had a great time. I actually listened to half of the second one twice.
Nice.
I actually listened to it. Yeah, I started to listen to it again.
I'm halfway through the second one, and I just had a great time the entire time, and I forgot like where things began and ended. It really, but
right.
I was just like, "Holy cow, that was a fun."
Well, when
fun
he
time.
edits, he kind of jumps around.
He does, yeah. But it was still like I was just like, "Wow, okay." I kind of forgot I said that. That actually was like a good point and stuff like that. So yeah, no, I had a lot of fun doing it.
Yeah, it was pretty fun. Let's see here. We do have some corrections and clarifications. The double villain, I can't talk. I've been sniffing glue again. It's fine. It's the Vision conversation in the WandaVision season finale was the ship of Theosis, not the book of Theosis. My Want to Win rap album was Open Mike Eagle, Anime Trauma, and Divorce, but it was actually not released within the window, so next year, baby.
It probably will be nominated.
I hope so.
Good.
But yeah, it should. It was great. I misspoke regarding the fish that is able to remove itself from its own body to use as bait. This is not true. The fish I was referring to was the goblin shark, which has semi-transparent skin, which makes their innards somewhat visible and attracts unsuspecting prey for posterity. Some of the other horrifying sea creatures that I found while I was looking up that information are the anglerfish, the giant squid, the vampire squid, the stargazer, which is extra nightmarish. Please look that up. The barrel eye and the monkfish. Look up stargazer
It's
fish.
terrifying.
It looks like a person.
Yeah.
It looks like a real person. And this thing is probably the worst because it like buries itself into the sand, like in shallow waters, and just waits for somebody to walk by and then bites it.
Yeah.
But it looks like an actual, when it's buried in and all you can see is like its eyes and stuff, it looks like a freaking person's face. It's just terrifying.
It really is.
And I'm not going to hop back on that soapbox because I stood on it for long enough last week. But yeah, all that stuff can just seriously just go suck an egg. So our topic number one, and we'll bring him in here in a second, is going to be Kevin from Project X Talk. We are aware of the fact that we're a little bit PlayStation biased, but we also want to present a fairly agnostic approach when we handle talking about games. And I've wanted to get somebody that's an Xbox guy on, or gal, for a while. So I reached out to Project X Talk, and Kevin was nice enough to join us for a little bit. So here we go. Okay, so we are joined tonight by another guest, another new friend, Kevin from the Project X Talk podcast.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. I'm good. Greg, how are you?
I'm doing fine. Thank you.
So we were kind of talking before we hit record here that, you know, we try to be as agnostic as possible, but we do, Greg and I both have a weakness in terms of knowledge when it comes to the Xbox and the you know, some of the different products and services that they offer. And I've been wanting to have somebody on for a while, really since the machines launched, from the Xbox side of things. So I reached out to Kevin with Project X Talk, and I've been listening to some of their stuff, kind of getting myself familiar with things. And I think we're going to have some pretty good topics to talk about. But before we get into that, what can you tell us just about your podcast, and, you know, where and when people find you on a weekly basis?
Yeah, so Project X Talk is a weekly podcast that posts with me. We have a few of my buddies that we got together, decided, you know, Xbox was a pretty underrepresented console, I guess, in the podcast space. You know, we have all these big PlayStation podcasts. There are a few Xbox podcasts out there, but it was really, we felt, an underrepresented thing, and we wanted to really shine light at the good stuff going on over at Xbox. You know, we don't really participate in the console war nonsense that a lot of channels do. So, especially because a lot of us have PlayStations. So every week we come together, we record an episode about all the Xbox news, games, what's going on, the rumors. We also have a YouTube channel where we have a few series going on. We have a Game Pass and review series that we post weekly on, reviewing games, really showing you the value of that service, seeing if it's for you, if these are games that are worth playing. So we do have a YouTube channel. We're on every audio platform. We're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. So you can check us out wherever. We're on Twitter. That's our main social media, at Project X Talk. So you can go follow us over there if you want to get more information.
Sure. That's awesome. And that was kind of a great segue, because our first question is actually, what are your thoughts on the Game Pass? As a PlayStation guy, I do have like a bit of jealousy towards the Game Pass, because I think that it is without question, hands down, the best value for gamers in the industry right now. So what makes that such an attractive service, and what are some of the best games available for Game Pass right now? I know you said you do the Game Pass review. That's going to keep you busy, because it seems like they're getting new games on it every day.
Yeah, I mean, we just got like 8 more today, plus the 20 Bethesda titles that came last week. So we certainly have a lot to play in a short amount of time. But Game Pass for me, I really, you know, we hear the phrase repeated all the time that it's the best value in gaming, and it really is, in my opinion. And it's not so much to do with the fact that there's like tons of amazing AAA blockbusters on it. We do have the AAA games from Microsoft that gets put on day and date,
Mhm.
which to me is a big part of why you subscribe.
Right.
Instead of paying $60, which now for some games
Right.
$70 or more for the next gen versions, $70 a day of launch for the first party games, they get put on Game Pass. So you pay $15 a month, you pay $10 a month, you get those day and date when they launch. And for me, that's enough value. You buy 3 games a year and you equal the price. But with Game Pass, you get all this other content.
Right.
You get third party games. You get so many more independent games that you might not have checked out otherwise. I know I just played Haven from the Game Bakers, an
Mhm.
independent French studio. I would have never paid for that
Right.
game, but because it was on Game Pass, it gave me the opportunity.
Yeah, and I would say that it's a lot like Plus with where for PlayStation, but the difference is like you're saying is you get those big tentpole games like Halo or Gears or whatever, day one when they release, whereas you might get The Last of Us, but you're going to get it 4 years later. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so those big games people don't want to wait for, but I do see the value as well with the smaller titles. You kind of mentioned the Bethesda Microsoft thing, and this is obviously one of the big pieces of news in the moment. And I was listening to you guys' most recent episode, and you guys tackled this a little bit. But what do you see as far as what this would mean, not only for Xbox, but then for also other platforms outside the Microsoft ecosystem moving forward?
Well, I think Phil Spencer made it pretty clear, and I've seen some people try to poke holes in the statement, but this is really as definitive a statement as he's going to give us. He's before the acquisition, he's gone back and forth
Mm,
saying, I can't say anything, but his statement at the roundtable really was definitive, where he said that, I paraphrasing obviously, but the point of the acquisition is to bring exclusive games to platforms where Game Pass exists.
right.
I think that is the main statement that anyone needs to know. And he did reaffirm that games that are currently on other platforms are going to stay on other platforms. He said legacy titles, communities that are established, like you see with the Elder Scrolls Online or
Right.
Fallout 76, those are going to continue to get support. Those are going to continue to exist. And if they are contractually obligated, like for
Deathloop.
Deathloop,
Right.
Ghostwire
Yep.
Tokyo, yep, the games that are going to be on PlayStation 5 that we already know about. There could be other contractual obligations that we don't know about. I know Indiana Jones is one that's being thrown around. Like, is it going to be exclusive? Is it not going to be exclusive because of the way they're doing the deal with Lucas?
Mhm.
But that very well could be multi-plat. But the main point is, I would say 99% of games going forward are going to be exclusive to a platform that has Game Pass. And that doesn't mean Xbox,
Right.
because we need to stop thinking of Xbox just as a console.
Mhm.
It really is an ecosystem now where you have the Xbox One, you have the series consoles, you have your PC where
Mhm.
you can play Game Pass, you have your phones where you can play Game Pass. And they're expanding that market. You have tablets, they're working on smart TV apps. So in the future, you're going to be able to play all these games on those devices without having to buy a console. And for me, I think that really opens up the market to a whole new audience, people that can't afford this hardware
Right.
but still want to play these games.
So with that, and I think that a lot of people don't necessarily know that Game Pass extends past the actual boxes to their PC,
Mm-hmm.
to their phone, to their tablet, probably their smart TV here in the next year or two. But as things become a little bit more, the lines become a little bit more blurred. We see MLB The Show is going to be on other consoles for the first time this year. Do you
Yep.
think that Game Pass could ever be something that would be brought to PlayStation and even to a lesser extent Nintendo?
Based on current relationships, I think that you have a greater chance of seeing Game Pass brought to a Nintendo Switch or whatever future
Right.
hardware they put out than you do a PlayStation. I don't think PlayStation is interested
Mhm.
in getting Xbox games on their platform. I don't even if you took the Xbox games out of Game Pass, I don't think they want Microsoft making any money on their platform.
Right.
I think Nintendo has no reason to do it, but they seem to have a much better relationship with
Right.
Microsoft.
Right. Yeah, that seems to be the case. What was the well, they brought the Ori games over to
Yep.
Switch, and those were previously Xbox.
Yeah, and they've given Steve from Minecraft and Banjo Kazooie.
Yeah.
Both of them are in Smash
Right.
Brothers now.
Right. Yeah, that's right.
Kevin, thanks for joining us. By the way, now I'm actually going to jump in here, and I'm going to go off the script, Brenton, because I actually wanted to make sure I want to. Well, sort of off script. I just want to say the question I had, because I have not really played Xbox that much, and I've been a PlayStation guy. What do you think? How do you think Xbox can convert or get someone more interested in PlayStation, like someone like myself? That's kind of more where I'm leaning towards with things like this, because I've been a PlayStation guy through and through, and every time I try to play Xbox, I just can't get into it. So, as an Xbox guy with an Xbox podcast, what do you think they can do maybe differently, or is there a way to do something differently?
Well, I think we're already seeing a different approach this generation than the Xbox One generation. And if anyone's listened to my podcast before, you'll know I was not a fan of the Xbox One generation. It actually almost made me stop playing games. I think Microsoft handled the Xbox One generation very poorly. In terms of getting PlayStation gamers in, as someone that has every console, I have a PlayStation 5, I have a Series X, I have a Switch. I think Microsoft this generation is looking to be the home of Western RPGs, of first-person shooters, and they are trying to expand their presence in the Japanese market. You see that with deals like the Yakuza series all being on Game Pass, Phantasy Star Online. They're working closely with Sega. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Persona at some point make a jump over because Sega owns Atlas. So they are exploring new ways to get different genres that maybe they haven't had on the past on the console. They're really investing more in these first party studios, and they didn't do that last generation. Sony made a killing last generation, the PlayStation 4, off these first party great exclusives, and Xbox did not have those. We've already got titles announced that, if everything goes according to plan, will be able to compete on that front.
Okay, cool. Thank you. And I'm just going to jump around to you, Brenton, on this one, just because this is my favorite question on this.
Okay.
Because this is the thing that we talk about the most on the podcast, aside from Marvel. Ken, do you have any thoughts on the Cyberpunk 2077 debacle? Because I love it.
Oh, God.
Love it.
Oh, God. Yeah, so this is I think my podcast has talked extensively about Cyberpunk, to be honest. Who hasn't at this point? But I know my one co-host, Aman, swears that this was game of the year of 2020. He loved it. He was like, it was flawless.
Did he play it on PC?
No, he played it on Series X.
Oh, wow.
So I didn't play it. I was never interested
Right.
in the game. It didn't do anything. I don't care about the cyberpunk aesthetic. And then I felt really justified after the fact. I was like, I knew this game wasn't going to be bad, and look what's happening.
Yeah.
My other two co-hosts did play it, and they both stopped
Mhm.
because of bugs, because of issues they were having. So they're waiting, I'm pretty sure, until the game is patched and the next gen version.
Yeah.
But in terms of the overall debacle, they screwed up. They screwed up royally. They took a game that should have been a roaring success, and financially it was. They still sold 13 million copies.
Right.
But PR wise, CD Projekt Red took a huge hit. They do not have the same standing in the community they used to have. They have all these hacks now, people threatening them, and obviously none of that is appropriate. They made a game, and it's not the developer's fault.
Right.
It was the management and the higher ups that were like, we're going to push out this broken game.
Right.
But they messed up. People should be held accountable. So far, I haven't seen anyone held accountable, and their apology videos are about as shallow as a pond. They're not sincere at all, in my opinion. They're just trying to win you back so you buy their game when they eventually put it out again.
Right. Well, I think, you know, and we've talked about this. Well, Greg's made the joke that we're going to talk about this game until 2077. But you know, it was every week, and I wonder too, and I think I mentioned this, is was their reputation as pristine as it was even justified? Because they made one very, very good game, one very highly regarded game, but that's kind of it. You know what I mean? I mean, nobody really played Witcher 1 or 2. I mean, they had maybe their niche audiences or whatever, but I mean, I know Witcher 3 was huge, but is it really, should you really hype a studio based on one good game? I mean, a broken clock's right twice a day. You know what I mean?
I mean, in my opinion, no. The Witcher 3 was another game. Didn't do anything for me.
Right.
Boring.
Right.
And I love fantasy settings. I love fantasy RPGs. Like, that is something that I will always have time for. The Witcher is not something oh my God,
Right.
no, I cannot play it. And it was buggy at launch too. They
Right.
fixed that game, and it may have turned out great. People do love it, but it definitely did not deserve the reputation as being some amazing revolutionary RPG maker.
Right.
And I have played The Witcher 2. It's garbage.
Okay. Well, there you have it. Yeah. I just felt they talked about this game for so long, and it was just, I think this whole thing was a byproduct of the hype cycle. And, you know, much in the same way that No Man's Sky was, right? And it's taken like 4 or 5 years to get No Man's Sky back on track. But I think, you know, everybody loves a redemption story, and I'm sure everything will work out fine. And like you said, they still sold 13 million copies after refunds, so they're going to be just fine as far as that goes. But and we actually have this later in our regular show, where you have people like Elon Musk coming out and criticizing the game for not having self-driving cars and stuff in it. I just love that just everybody's just throwing tomatoes at this thing. I will ask you, so, and you mentioned, you know, announced Xbox exclusives. What are some of those games that are coming up just maybe in the next 6 to 12 months that you're excited for?
6 to 12 months is probably, I mean, right now the only thing we know is coming is Halo Infinite, and obviously I'm super pumped for that as a Halo fan. Halo 2 is one of my favorite games of all time. 4 is one of, it's not good. Halo
Right.
4 is not good. Halo
Is that
5
4 is the first one from 343?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, 4 is not good, in my opinion. I've had some disagreements with other people. I prefer 5. I think 5 multiplayer is really good. The story's all right. Everything that's coming out about Halo Infinite has me really excited. They're taking it in a new direction. They just had some leaks about how they're going to handle cutscenes. It's going to be like God of War, Uncharted cutscenes where there isn't like a black screen. It's just going to be continuous, like in-engine type thing. So I think I'm glad they took the time to work on it.
Mhm.
Obviously, when it was announced that it was delayed, I was bummed because I was looking forward to playing it. But I'm excited for that in the next 6 to 12 months. There's rumors that Starfield is coming out in that time frame as well. That remains to be seen. Obviously, we're going to have a Bethesda showcase in the summer, so maybe Todd Howard will show it there. I don't expect it until spring 2022, probably at the earliest, to be honest with you. Looking past 6 to 12 months, Hellblade 2, I think, is one that is obviously high. I mean, Hellblade was my favorite game of last generation. I think it's a masterpiece.
Yeah, you got to play it with headphones, though, right?
Yes,
like that's a must.
Play it with headphones so you can hear all the disturbing psychological voices. But yeah, I think that's a masterpiece. So Hellblade 2, I'm super excited for. Avowed from Obsidian, that's a little further out, maybe 2023 with that one. But that looks to be a Elder Scrolls type game. So those are ones I'm super excited for, and obviously Fable whenever that comes, but I don't expect that within any probably 4 years.
Right.
I think I'm not sure how far they are in development with that one, but Fable's always been one of my favorite franchises.
I said this wrong at the top. I do actually have an Xbox 360. I just haven't found a controller that works for it yet. And I bought, like, I lucked into this thing. And I went like the next day and I bought like 20 games. Well, not 20 games, like $20 worth of games, but 360 games are crazy cheap. So I got a boatload.
Yeah.
And Fable was one of the, and I'm super excited to play it because I've always wanted to play it. That's one of those games that I've been drawn to the Xbox for that I've never had an opportunity to. But once I get a freaking battery pack that works, I guess.
Is it a Fable Anniversary?
No, I'm not sure. I think it's just maybe Fable 2.
Okay.
I'm not
I
sure.
don't. Everyone loves Fable 2. I
Mhm.
personally don't. It's my least favorite in the series, which is a controversial opinion. Fable 1, especially the anniversary edition with all the DLC, is probably my favorite. The
Okay.
Lost Chapters. Fable 3, I like. That one people did not enjoy as much,
Right,
but I
right.
thought it was pretty good.
Yeah. Sorry, I cut
Oh,
you
I
off,
was
Greg.
just gonna. I was just gonna say, Kevin, do you have any concerns with the delay of Halo Infinite? Do you think it still makes it this year? Do you think it gets delayed again?
I think it makes it this year. I don't want to name anyone. We did talk to a developer who for our channel, and they said they worked on Halo Infinite and that they thought it was going to get delayed. I'm not gonna name
Sure.
who
Right.
who
Yeah. Yeah.
talked to us about that, but I personally don't know because he wouldn't have been like a major developer on the game, so I'm not sure he's privy to that information. So
Right.
I do have my doubts, but I think it does make it this year. I think it launches on the 20th anniversary of Halo. I think that'd be pretty symbolic and a nice way to send the game out to everyone.
Which is what exact date?
Uh,
Is
it's,
it a fall? Is it a fall date?
yeah, it's in the fall.
Okay.
It's in the fall.
I
It's
don't. This first year, I don't think it super is super important because nobody can find these consoles anyway. I mean,
yeah,
like breaking into the Capitol building is easier than finding one of these consoles. I mean, I lucked into a PS5, but I would assume that they would need Halo to compete with Horizon in the fall because Horizon I think is definitely coming. I don't think God of War is. Ragnarok or whatever they are going to call that. I don't think that God of War has a prayer of seeing this calendar year, but you would think that they would need something to compete with Horizon, right?
yeah. So just touching on the point where we can't find consoles, that's I know it's true for the most part. I was actually able to pre-order 5 Series X before launch for me, my family, and some friends.
Oh wow.
So I had a really easy time getting Series X. PlayStation 5, I could not get.
Yeah.
I had to buy one secondhand for a reasonable price. Actually, it was only like I don't know $60 more
Oh
than
wow.
retail, and I was
Yeah,
like, wow,
sure. I'd
yeah,
pay that.
yeah couldn't turn that down. My brother got one at like 3 a.m. Woke up, Best Buy had one, just snagged one. I was like, what?
Yeah,
What?
that's what it was for me. I just happened to be on the Best Buy site at the right time. That's all it was.
Yeah. But back to the Halo competing question.
Mm.
So I'm with you. I don't think God of War is coming out this year. I think that title screen was merely to drive sales of the
Yeah,
PS5,
sure.
which
They didn't need
depresses
to
me.
anyway, but
Yeah, that depresses me because I've never had a PlayStation before the PlayStation 5,
oh wow.
and I literally just played God of War in January
Mhm.
and I loved it.
Yeah,
So
it's great. Great game.
I would love if Ragnarok come out this year. I don't care about Horizon. That's not a game I'm looking forward to. I know it has its audience.
Yep.
So I'd rather God of War come out
Yeah,
instead of
sure.
Horizon. But I think in terms of competition, I mean, Sony's already got some first parties coming out.
Right.
We have Ratchet and Clank,
Ratchet.
which I'm
Yep.
excited for in
Yep.
June. So they're already a little ahead of the game almost
Mhm.
with putting out the first party titles. Their sales are doing really well.
Yep.
It's the best selling console ever.
Yep.
It's made the most money, or so it's not the same price as a previous console, so
Sure.
it's hard to compare. But they're doing extremely well. I think Xbox, in my opinion, needs Halo to come out this year.
Yeah.
I think there will be more consoles available by the fall and the winter.
Mhm.
So having Halo Infinite could certainly drive those sales.
Right.
And then you add in Game Pass. You
Sure.
add in all the other titles available for a it's pretty easy to get in. And even with Halo Infinite, it's coming day and date on Game Pass. So
Right.
even if you can't find a console, if you want it on your PC, you want it on your phone, you want it on your tablet, you're going to still be able to get it.
That's true. That's true. So, final question for you: any IP, any game, any IP from any studio, doesn't matter. Microsoft, Sony, Nintendo, Atari, whatever, doesn't matter. If you could pluck any IP up, hand it to one of the, what is it, like 24, 25 Microsoft first parties studios? What IP, which studio, and why?
So this is going to seem like I mean, my dream is that Microsoft finally gives us a Banjo-Kazooie 3, but obviously that's an IP that Microsoft owns,
Right.
and obviously their studio work on it. If we're just talking someone else's IP, this one's going to seem weird, but I have a dream that Ice Climbers, the IP that Nintendo had back in the whatever
NES,
80s,
yeah, NES,
yeah,
Ice Climbers, yep.
that you can play on the little NES
Yep.
thing on the Switch.
Mhm.
I have a dream that they take that IP and turn it into sort of a kid-friendly action adventure type game where like the ice climbers get separated, they get rejoined, they get like tools to like climb a mountain, they fight kid-friendly enemies. You kind of have like an army of two type system where you can like tell the other climber to do something or play co-op with someone.
Yeah.
I just have a dream of this game because I love the ice climbers from Super Smash Brothers, and I
Right,
feel
yeah.
like if you take their models from Super Smash Brothers and give them a little game around how they look and give them a little story, it doesn't have to be anything complicated, just a
Right.
Nintendo game,
Sure.
I think it would do super well
You
with
could,
a
yeah, I could
friendly
see it
audience.
almost like a 3/4 top down, almost like Overcooked a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would play really well. I like that, actually. Greg, do you have any other questions for Kevin?
No, thank you for coming on. I just want to add that the biggest reason, and I just want to say this because it's funny for me to say, the biggest reason I've never really liked playing the Xbox is I just didn't like the controller. That's it.
On the original?
Yeah,
no.
that's like literally the biggest. I know on the
No.
original one, and I know it's changed and stuff, but yeah, that was like I remember trying to play it, and I was like, I don't like the way this fits in my hand, and it's like literally the dumbest reason, but I like telling it to people.
What's they have like the Pro controller or something like that? It's supposed to be like amazing.
Yeah, the Elite
Yeah.
controller
Elite
has like
controller,
back paddles, and I mean, it is amazing. In my opinion, the Xbox controller is the best controller. I've hated every PlayStation controller before the DualSense. I could not. It always made my hands get cramped. The joysticks were too close together, so I could play for a little bit and then my hands would just hurt. The DualSense does not have that issue.
It's
I
a
think the
little
DualSense
wider.
is great.
Yeah, it's a
The
little
DualSense
wider.
is fantastic.
Yeah.
That's their first good controller. I said Sony finally made a good controller. It only took them 5 PlayStations, but Xbox since the 360, their controller has been amazing. They keep making little subtle changes to it, but I prefer the offset sticks. I know
Yep.
everyone has their own little preference, but
Nope, can't do it. Can't do it. That's the sticking point. Get off our show.
how do you aim on PlayStation? You know, I played Control Ultimate Edition. Aiming is so hard when they're right next to each other. I swear.
How do I aim? 25 years of muscle memory is what it is, or however long. I think, man, how old was I when I got it? Well, they didn't even have the sticks on the original PS1 controller. That wasn't until a little bit later. So yeah, but like 23 years of muscle memory. That's all it is. But I've always said that I feel like shooters are more at home on Xbox anyway.
Yeah, I think the offset sticks lend itself better. I think both are in a good place now. Like I said, DualSense is great and the Xbox controller is great. And just a shout out to the DualSense for every time I played Bug Snacks and then capturing the bugs and they would just play through the little controller, bunger. Yes.
That game was like a being on LSD. I'm confident. I've never been
on
on it.
I platinumed it.
Oh yeah, me too. Yeah, for sure. I'll tell you what. I'll have to hit you up for send you my PSN after we're done.
Oh yeah, hit me up. I got like no friends.
Yeah, you got it, man. I got all kinds of trophies, so I'm that guy. So Project X Talk Sundays on Spotify, Apple, all that stuff, and then YouTube also.
Yep, we release every Sunday around 10, 11 a.m. I don't actually upload the videos. I one of our co-hosts does that. So it's around that time in the morning. Obviously, if you want the exact time, you can follow us on Twitter. Get the notification when it goes live on all the platforms. We do occasionally do a live show because we record on Thursdays. You might rarely get one on Thursdays, but it'll be on all the platforms right after. So you'll get notified of that too if you want to go drop a subscription. We do have a Discord that link's also there if you want to come hang out. We're trying to get a little community going. So
Sure.
come on over and chat some Xbox, chat some regular games. Like I said, we all have the other systems as well.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Well, Kevin, we appreciate you coming on. It was very, like I said, we don't have a whole lot of Xbox knowledge, so that it was educational, and it was also a good time. So we appreciate
Thanks,
you, man.
Kevin.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys.
All right. Thanks a lot. All right. We want to thank Kevin for coming on. We had a great time with him. Just like Guillermo, I feel like we've got a new friend on our hands. And we will continue to, pump their show up and that sort of thing and help promote for them. So if you're an Xbox guy and you listen to our stuff, please head over and check out Project X Talk. They're very knowledgeable. I've been catching up on their back catalog. We had a great time with him.
We did. It was a lot of fun.
Number 2, the challenge. We pick up where we left off in last week's episode, where the teams are handcuffed together in clips? Cages. The glue, the sniffing with the glue. And have to complete a series of tasks. All teams except 2 bowed out during the eating gross shit aspect. Leroy and Casey and Corey and Gabby mustered on, but Leroy and Casey blew the competition away. CT gave his new partner Cam a tough time and questioned whether he would be further ahead with Big T as his partner. The rest of the episode was a ramp up to the elimination challenge in which one woman would be claiming the final ladies' gold skull. It came down to Nani and Gabby, with Big T as the rogue agent and unable to compete. The challenge found Gabby taking round 1 of a pole wrestle, put the ring on the pole sort of situation, but saw Nanny surge and win her final 2 rounds to win her first elimination challenge in what feels like a decade, which qualifies her to run TJ's final. How excited were you for
I was super
Greg?
excited, and it's not just because I have a crush on Nani. That aside, I forgot how long it's been since she's actually done anything on the show. And when they started breaking it down, I was like, holy cow, I was 25 when she literally did anything significant on the show other than just show up. I also want to point out that Cam not really doing a good job at all, and then CT saying that to Big T. I want to point that out to Fessy. That is what karma is. That is what karma is. Just so he understands that is the definition of karma.
Karma's not a Latin girl he met with a cold sore. On the
I'm
strip in
I'm
Vegas.
sure that's happened too, but just want to point out what actual karma is to him.
Right.
No, I was pumped when Gabby took round 1, and Gabby's a fitness instructor or whatever she is. Allegedly. Nani on that third one, she just came out that was crazy. I was
She had
happy
murder in her eyes.
She did. She really did have an intense look in her eyes. It was crazy. I haven't seen someone really look like that on the show in a long time, where they're just if I lose this is it. I'm just done for the day. But she killed it, and kudos to her. And it was also people actually understood how to play the game. It took this long, but they're like, oh, I gotta want to be sent in here so I can get my golden skull here. That's the funny thing. Took this long.
Here's the thing about Nani is she's really nice and nobody dislikes her. And that's why she makes it until almost the final every time. And then everybody's like, well, we got to put somebody in there. And then she's just physically not imposing in any way, shape, or form.
No.
If she would have gone into the hall brawl against Amber M that Amber B beat, and it was the lamest hall brawl in the history of hall brawls, I don't know that... I think she probably still would have won. I just don't know if it would have been as decisive as it was with Amber B. She's just not a physical specimen. And the difference between her and Anissa, who is certainly not a physical specimen, is that Anissa is at least big.
Right.
And I don't mean that pejoratively. It's just a situation where she has at least a little bit of just mass strength sort of thing. She's going to be difficult to beat in a hall brawl. She's going to be difficult to beat in a pole wrestle. She's going to be difficult to beat in anything that just kind of one of the requirements is size, right? Nani just doesn't have
No,
any.
this was the perfect challenge for her, though. It was just like be fast,
Right?
And like,
Yeah, sure.
And she was strong enough. I mean, when she got the ring on the second time, it was. I think it was like that was one of those times where like sometimes your heart is the biggest muscle in your body kind of thing,
Sure,
and
sure.
you're just gonna like fire through.
Yeah, that one might have been a little bit of not about the size of the dog of the fight, but the size of the fight in the dog,
Right.
sort of thing.
Yeah.
I'm curious now, because you basically have 5 teams with skulls and 1 team without, which is Corey, and now Corey is partnered with Big T, so she's clearly going to lose because Corey is like the Black Widow. But how many more challenges? How many more elimination challenges are we going to have? It can't be more than 1, you would imagine.
Well, there's no more girls. That's it.
There's Big T. Big T.
I thought he said that was. Oh yeah, I guess so. I guess there had to be 1. Yeah.
One each of 1 male, 1 female.
Okay, so that's it. We have 2, and that's
right.
That's crazy.
So I figure there's gonna be 1 more elimination.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it'll be like, TJ with his bull crap of nothing's what it seems. Next time it's just gonna be a guys and girls elimination.
Yeah.
You can chalk it up.
Yeah.
Write it down. That's what it's gonna be. And depending on who gets that, CT's probably safe because of Cam. They'll probably throw Kyle in.
Yeah.
Who's his partner nowadays? Well, it's Nani.
Nani,
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that doesn't make anybody mad.
No.
If Kyle and Nani go back in, that holds the alliances. That's the one trump card is that CT has is that being partnered with Cam, Leroy is not going to throw Cam in, obviously, and then the Big Brother people aren't going to piss Leroy off since he's partnered with them and them, one of them and them.
No.
I gotta lay off the Elmers. For real.
Has anything changed in your thoughts of what's going to happen, final wise or champion wise?
It's going to come down to CT and Darrell.
Yeah.
On the guy side, I would imagine that when we get to the final, it becomes an individual thing. I don't think it's going to be a pairs thing. That's just my guess. I don't think it's going to be, or they're going to pull something where it's like, everybody's partners with everybody. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, you're partners with Anissa on the stage that you have to run 15 miles. Well, you're going to lose, point blank.
I think it still ends up being a partner thing, just because most of the time, I can't imagine it would just be individual after all this, because you do have to have that thing where you complain about the other person and try to not complain about them, though. Like you backhandedly say like, Anissa, you're doing fine. You just have to move your legs faster.
Right. Yeah. So in that sense, I feel like if it stays a partner thing and the partners stay where they're at, I like Leroy and Casey just because they seem like the most complete team. Now, that being said, if there's any swimming, Leroy's in trouble because we all know even though he has a life jacket on, he is in danger of drowning at any moment. He swims like a toddler. I love Leroy.
Yeah.
He can't swim.
No.
He swims as well as
a rock.
Something that doesn't swim well.
Yeah, I mean,
a rock.
I definitely feel like if to me the challenge, I think it's going to be set up of like,
Well, who are the other? Who's Fessy's partner now?
Got to go through everybody in my head.
Is it still Anissa?
Yeah. Because he just was trying to throw the eating thing. He just kept throwing up everything he ate.
He was trying to get Gabby.
Yeah.
Nani stayed with Kyle. Darrell's with Amber. CT's with Cam. So from a complete team standpoint, power rankings. Let's just go ahead and power rank these. Leroy and Casey are definitely number 1.
Yes.
CT and Cam are probably number 2.
Yeah.
Would you?
I will let you go until if I disagree.
Number 3 is probably Darrell and Amber. Yeah. And then I would say Fessy and Anissa, and then
Kyle and Nani.
Kyle and Nani. Yeah.
The thing that kind of throws me at this is like Darrell with Amber. We don't know anything about them like really going further. Or
we don't know much about Amber.
Right. I mean, we know what he can do, but it's always been like he. We kind of talked about how he's multi-time champion, but then he's kind of got lucky into it in a weird way. And I'm not trying to take away from his championship. He's a champion nonetheless, but he has had kind of like easier routes than this kind of route. So it'll be that's kind of intriguing to me. I still, like I said, until CT loses, I think he wins. I mean,
he's the favorite. Yeah, sure. We'll just throw this in here. The cast of the Challenge All-Stars, which will begin in April on Paramount Plus, was announced. There's a trailer if you want to check that out. I think it's only going to be like 9 episodes, I thought I saw. But here's the cast I'll read through. Ruthie, Ace, Big Easy, Trishelle, Jemmy, Nehemiah, Katie, Gisela, Anissa, Arissa, Tech
Money,
Derek, Mark, John A, Kendall, Beth, Darrell, Latyrian, Alton. So there's your answer to that Alton question, if we'd ever see him again. So kind of. Cyrus and Yes Duffy. So
I mean,
I don't have a whole lot of history with a lot of those people. I'm very familiar with Jemmy and her aversion to ketchup.
I wonder if Eric got in shape.
There was a picture of him. I mean, he's still a
big boy. He is, yeah. He's still a big boy. He doesn't seem as big boyish, but I'm glad Tech Money's in it. Huge
I like
fan
Derek.
of Tech. Yeah. I mean, I think
Derek. I like
if
John
Alton just cares,
Right.
then he's the favorite. But
right. Could you imagine if Darrell had Alton's athleticism? He'd be a 10-time champion.
Yeah, it'd be
because Darrell shows up to compete.
Yeah, Darrell's
every
just
season he's on.
Darrell he's a low to the ground athlete,
Yeah.
But
yeah, he's an athlete for sure. Yeah, that's pretty interesting. I mean, I have Paramount Plus, so we'll check it. We'll watch it. I don't know if you want to do a weekly.
Maybe
on it. We'll see.
Yeah,
we will.
I'm not. I just don't know who Yes Duffy is, even though she's
I don't
won.
know who that is.
Huh. All right.
I've never heard of that person.
All right. So moving on, it's Brent and Greg at the movies at home, and this week we're reviewing Cherry. Tom Holland stars as Cherry in the aptly named film Cherry, directed by Joe and Anthony Russo. Cherry is a college dropout who becomes an army medic and develops PTSD in Iraq, while his wife, Emily Ciara Bravo, awaits his return at home. After returning home, Cherry struggles with PTSD and is prescribed oxycodone to deal with his physical and mental pain. Cherry and Emily progress to heroin addicts and continue to be able to pay his dealer pills and coke, played by Jack Rayner, and his mysterious overlord, Black. Cherry returns to a life of crime, robbing banks. Eventually, things go sideways and Cherry lands in prison for a 13-year bid. The movie ends on a hopeful note when Cherry, having gotten clean of prison, is being picked up by Emily, who looks as though she has also kicked the drugs. What did you think, Brenton?
This is the worst movie we've reviewed. And it's not even close. And I am here to tell you that I wasn't particularly enthralled by the idea of Tom Holland playing my beloved Nathan Drake in the Uncharted movie. And I am, at this point, mortified. Because I'm going to tell you something, and I'm going to raise this question. And I told Bob Sacamano that I'd be coming out with hot takes left and right in this episode. Shamrock Shake sucks. Write it down. Here's hot take number 2. I don't think Tom Holland's a good actor. I think that he works as Spider-Man because he's goofy.
Sure.
Like, he's like a goofy kid, basically. He's like a goofy kid, which is exactly what Peter Parker is in high school, right? Every other movie he's in, the highest Rotten Tomatoes score is like a 60. This movie has a 22.
Yeah, it's rough.
So I think we need to start asking ourselves the question, is Tom Holland actually a good actor? He's just not believable in this role. I have a lot of problems with this movie, but it kind of starts and ends with him. He's like being portrayed as this bank robber / army medic, whatever. He's just not believable in literally any of those roles. The only time that he was believable in this movie was at the beginning when he was like the shy college kid.
Mm-hmm.
And you have the girl, Ciara Bravo, who's playing his girlfriend and then wife, Emily. She looked like she was 12.
She's very young.
The entire movie.
Yes.
She looked like she was 12 the whole movie. Those are problems A and B. I guess I don't have a problem with her looking like she's 12. It's just a statement of fact. Bad casting. Next set of problems. What movie are you making? Are you making like a Dazed and Confused, or, you know, like, oh, we're strung out on drugs and all this stuff. Are you making an army movie? Are you making a war movie? Because there was quite a few scenes that dealt with that. Are you making a heist movie? Like this, they tried to make 3 or 4 movies out of one movie. I didn't like that sometimes he talked to the camera like he was breaking the fourth wall, and sometimes he didn't. Like when it would make sense for him to do that. I don't think he did that throughout the entire portion of the movie where he was in Iraq or Afghanistan. I can't remember which one it was. It was just unfocused. It was unfocused for me. It seemed like they were trying to play with themes and colors and chapters, and we're going to break it down, and he's talking to the camera, but he's not talking to the camera. It made like the synopsis of the movie beforehand made it seem like, okay, he's going to be dealing with PTSD. And I actually thought the scenes where he was like dealing with the PTSD was pretty close to home. And I thought that those were probably the best scenes of the movie, because I thought that actually made sense within the timeline, made sense with what they were trying to portray, made sense with the overall tone of the movie. But then he's like robbing banks with this, you know, this dollar. I have a gun. This is a robbery. And he allegedly pulled that move off like 15 times. Is that believable? I don't know. Maybe it is. I've never robbed a bank. This made it seem awfully easy, though. I will say that. No, I was really bummed out because, like, I like Tom Holland, and this was directed by the Russo brothers. Of course, most famous probably for doing the Avengers movies and then the second 2 Captain America movies. This was a big miss for me, and it really has me questioning, like I said, or at least we need to start asking ourselves the question, is Tom Holland actually a good actor? Because here's the thing. Tom Holland, in my opinion, Tom Holland is the best Spider-Man we've gotten.
Yes.
Mark Hamill's the best Luke Skywalker we've gotten, and Daniel Radcliffe is the best Harry Potter we've gotten. Do you see a trend here? Those guys never played anything else.
Well, Daniel Radcliffe, I will say, like, he's really known for doing like theater, and like he's won theater stage stuff. So I'll give him that. Right. Mark Hamill's done the voice
Matthew Perry
acting.
is the best Chandler Bing we've gotten.
Yeah. Right.
Chandler Bing.
Chandler.
Oh my God.
So
Chandler Bing.
I will go on this direction too. That this is based off a novel, but it's like almost like a semi-autobiographical novel by Nico Walker. And the storyline is, I looked this up after watching the movie, is pretty much this. It is the storyline from the book. This guy.
Right.
And the author himself actually went through all this. Went through a lot of this. He went to the army, had PTSD, and he did rob 10 banks in the Cleveland area.
Oh wow!
And then he went to jail.
Yeah, that was the other thing.
So this is like sort of based on like an actual thing. The thing about this movie,
did he have a cheesy porn stash at the end?
Maybe
his time at jail.
That was funny with the caterpillar.
This was filmed in Cleveland. Shout out.
There you go.
Garfield Heights.
I mean, it probably is. Of the movies, it probably is the worst movie we reviewed. I didn't hate it as much as you did. It really bummed me the fuck out, though. This was not. this was not something that the army would ever use as an ad for the army, and this does not ever make you want to do heroin. 2 things I never wanted to do anyhow. But oh my God,
well, I've one of them, but I'm going to leave that ambiguous.
Not for me, but it really bummed me out. Like when they're really actually like when they decided, and he actually was like, "Oh, we decided we're gonna be junkies," and they just go ahead and do that. That like totally bummed me out. I will agree. Like Tom Holland is kind of this weird thing where it's like I was making Spider-Man jokes the entire time. Like whenever they were like in class or whatever, it was like, "Oh, the next scene is when he gets." The next scene is when he gets bit by a spider, stuff like that, which we never actually see in his Spider-Man movies. But, he's not. This is maybe the thing I want to go into. Is it because he's Spider-Man and he's the perfect Spider-Man that he's kind of casted this shadow over himself that no matter what he does, maybe for a while, he can probably only be Spider-Man. This might be the larger question than like whether the movie's, good or bad or whatever. It's that, is it possible that he like actually does a performance and you're like, holy crap, that was great? Or is it just that, well, he's Spider-Man. He's, Peter Parker trying.
Well, that's
I think
what
that's a tough thing.
I mean, I feel like it even took Robert Pattinson a while to break out of the whole Twilight thing. But here's the difference. I've seen enough movies with Robert Pattinson to know he's a good actor. Right. Tom hasn't given that to us.
He hasn't yet.
I like Tom Holland. He's a great kid. He's bad with spoilers. Here's my thing is like you saying, it bummed me out and this and that. It's like, well, you know what? $1 Million Baby bums me out. $1 Million Baby is the most depressing movie I've ever seen. Like, seriously, it's the most depressing movie I've ever seen. I remember watching it with my dad whenever it came out, and we had it on DVD, and at the end I was just like, oh, okay. I guess I'll go make a sandwich or something. Now. Oh, man. But guess what? It was good. It was an actual good movie. It won awards.
Sure.
Clint Eastwood. I think it was. She won Best Actress. Hilary Swank.
Yeah.
I think Clint won something. I think it was nominated for Best Picture. And I know mainstream media awards, whatever. It was a good movie. Cherry, on the other hand, was
what I'll say on like your point is it was disjointed. Like, I understand they were trying to do the theme of, and they were just trying to do something different, I think, in the sense of like, prologue, chapters, all this stuff, which I understood that to some degree in what they were trying to do. And, I will say, like, I didn't mind this movie at the end of it. Actually, we watched it in 2 parts because we watched it late last night and then this today.
Yeah.
And maybe that helped it. Maybe if I watched it all in one sitting, I'd feel like more towards your edge. I'd say I'm 50-50 on it because sometimes I feel like
two parts as well.
Okay.
Actually.
I think I'm probably like 50-50 on it. Like, he's not what I want him to be as an actor, but I think sometimes, and this is mostly just, I think, because in a way, I always kind of, I think these movies need to come out every once in a while, is that thing with PTSD, and maybe that's where I'm at, where I think there needs to be a thing where that is actually real. It's kind of the whole thing of with maybe like, mental disorders in general, where people don't necessarily think that there's something, and you need something to kind of shine the light on it. So I think that's where I'll give it like the positive spin of like shine the light on something that actually is serious. And it sounds weird, but with everybody, with COVID stuff going on, people forget that like other things still exist. And I on that spin of things, it's like there's still other problems out there that people still need to deal with and need to take care of. And that's maybe where I'll go with this. I'm kind of interested in reading this book, if it is more of like a semi-autobiographical book mixed with fiction. The bank robbery thing, if that's actually what he did and that's what he did, then whatever.
Yeah, sure.
That is what it is. I thought the thing that was just so a little outlandish to me, it was just like the guy that was his pills guy was just so like always saying, you junkie.
Pills and Coke.
Just always calling him.
His name?
Yeah, just always calling him you junkie. And that grew a little tired for me, but I don't know if we're doing, rent by or pass or whatever. I'm in between like renting and passing. Like, don't watch this movie at all if you're like sad at all. Like, if you don't, you'll die watching this. And don't expect like, some amazing performance either. But if you kind of just want a movie, it does tell a story. I will say that there is like an actual storyline to it, but it's not the greatest story in the world. I would not have paid money. Like, if I paid money and saw this in theater, I'd probably be really kind of upset about it.
Well, this is one of those things because it's on Apple.
Yeah.
And there's not a whole lot on Apple.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? There's Ted Lasso, there's Palmer, there's The Morning Show, and then there's this. There might be a few other things. I think there's like a documentary about how Billie Eilish goes to the Goodwill to pick out her wardrobe.
Yes, there is that.
I thought so. Yeah. But with that being said, if I weren't watching Ted Lasso right now, I wouldn't have Apple. So for me, it's a pass. This isn't something you want to go out of your way for. It's not like where HBO Max has these huge movies coming up and you have to see them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's not like this was like a huge movie. It's not like this was like, oh my God, everybody go see Cherry. You know, there wasn't like a huge media push. I wonder, as you said with the PTSD thing, because I've worked in mental health and human services for the last decade plus, and I see people with PTSD all the time, that it just didn't have the same effect on me as it probably had with you. Just because on a daily basis.
Right, you're dealing with it, yeah.
Dealing with it. In my day job, but I digress. Yeah, for me, it's a pass. Like I said, this was, in my opinion, the worst movie that we've reviewed so far. But the good news for Cherry is that on the docket for the rest of the summer is some contenders.
There are some tough competition coming forward.
Watch the throne, so to speak.
Yeah.
So, this has been another Brett and Greg at the Movies at Home review. Cherry, pass for me. Pass it.
I'll say pass actually too.
Pass it like Steve
because
Nash.
I don't want people to pay for it and to get mad.
Pass it like Steve Nash. Okay, the 63rd Grammy Awards occurred Sunday night. Trevor Noah hosted with performances by Maren Morris featuring John Mayer, Taylor Swift from Middle-earth, Megan Thee Stallion and Cardi B performing softcore pornography with Deviant Smurfs, as well as Billie Eilish and Liza Minnelli impersonator Harry Styles. We did our predictions, and let me tell you, we put out the this or that social media poll for the social media standings, and everybody got it wrong because everybody picked you, and I won.
You did win.
I did. This guy, the guy who doesn't know anything about anything.
I thought you were gonna win after we got done with it, and I went back over. I'm like, Brenton's probably gonna win this. I thought you were gonna get best song though and best rock album. That's what I thought you were going to win on, not what you actually won on. I was shocked and happy I was shocked and happy with Taylor Swift.
Well, let's do this. We did our predictions. Best album was Taylor Swift. Point
Bestwick.
Wait, where's Point Bestwick? I'm gonna get the Blake Shelton thing going. Best rap album. We both said Nas, and so we both got a point for that. Best record, Billie Eilish. She showed up. She performed. Looking like she got her clothes at a homeless Big and Tall. So that one was point me. Best song, Her, I Can't Breathe, and best rock album, The Strokes. I was tempted to give myself each a half a point just to rub it in because I said that I wanted them to win.
Right.
But I didn't. I played fair. But that's those were the predictions things. So all the people who participated in the social media standings or whatever, it's still John K leads 2-1.
Yeah,
EJT
I don't understand. Did people listen? Because you were definitely more.
I think maybe they just assume that you know more about this than I do.
I don't know if it's knowing more. I mean, the Grammys is not the worst of these because the Golden Globes are probably the worst of actually what the awards are and who wins. But this was, I mean, to sound weird, it's I can't believe they got the best album right. I'm shocked.
Allegedly.
They got it right. That was the best album that was up for the award. It was the best album that was up for the award of the past year. And then Her was a good, they got things right. I mean, The Strokes, I think that was a Lifetime Achievement Award to be. I like that album fine, but I think it was more of I like The Strokes. And I loved The Strokes growing up, but it was that album, it's The Strokes. It is just clear cut and dry, The Strokes. Whatever. And then Billie Eilish winning for best record. I don't know. Dua Lipa's song was better. And I like Billie Eilish. So, I don't know. What it is. Dua Lipa kind of got jobbed, I thought. I mean, she didn't really...
Jobbed.
Yeah. I thought she should have won one of the major awards. It was the first quarantine album. It came out in February, and everybody was just doing TikTok in March.
How is it a quarantine album if it came
because
out in
it was people listened to it for a month, and they were all about ready to go out and party, and then you couldn't. And you had to party at home, and it was the only dance album out there. So you're dancing at home.
Sure.
Overall, though, I watched all the performances. I didn't actually watch the Megan Thee Stallion and Cardi B performance because I didn't want to don't like that song.
Well, yeah, it's a terrible song. I would add, I watched it, and I felt like I needed to sit those two down and have a session with them.
Yeah, that's how I just kind of feel in general towards Cardi B. I don't know Megan Thee Stallion well enough, but yeah.
Right. I don't know how old they are, but they need to talk to their parents.
I think Cardi B's like our age. It wouldn't shock me.
That's fine. She still
I don't disagree with you.
Still needs to have a chat with her father.
Deviant Smurfs.
Yeah, originally I had Dr. Manhattan in there as
I like
the
Deviant
joke.
Smurfs better.
But then I saw when it was more of them instead of just one guy in blue.
John Mayer killed it. I love that. Just a little riff there in the middle of her song. The Mary Morris' song. Great stuff.
Right.
His hair's looking great.
Sure.
Shout out. And Haim was good too. Just there, I like their little thing in the middle there. That was fun. And Trevor Noah was vibing with them. He was so into their song.
I don't really like him.
His book's really good.
Lay on with stuff.
But that would be my biggest take. And Harry Styles starting off the show was fun too, not wearing a shirt as he is wont to do. And everybody's mask matching their mask being really cool. Love that too, because I wear fancy masks. So, because Janie makes masks and sells them at Chaucer's bookstore.
Shout out. There you go.
Moving on to more, because it is the season of awards.
Tis the season.
The season. The Oscar nominations were announced Monday, and while we weren't able to go to the theaters much this year, the show must go on. The Father, Mank, Nomadland, Minari, Promising Young Woman, Sound of Metal, Judas and the Black Messiah, and The Trial of the Chicago 7 were nominated for the night's biggest award, Best Picture. BXG favorite, Tenet, was nominated for visual effects and production design. Chadwick Boseman was posthumously nominated for Best Actor for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. Netflix, in not shocking fashion, picked up a leading 35 nominations, being its own previous record of 24 that it set last year in 2020.
That's going to be an aberration because of the fact that there were no movies in the theaters. Limited movies in the theaters.
Yeah.
Chadwick Boseman's going to win.
Yeah.
He's just going to.
Yes.
I mean, like, you could nominate Jesus Christ in the role of the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost, and Chadwick Boseman is still going to win this award. That's just how it is. I mean, I haven't seen this movie. I don't know if it's a quality performance. Obviously, it is because he's nominated, but he's going to win just because of everything that he meant to everyone.
Sure.
They might as well not even nominate anyone else in that category. I'm just going to be real with you.
I will. What bums me out is that I love Sound of Metal. Love that. Yeah. And have you seen it yet, Sound of Metal?
No,
if you do,
it's on Prime.
Yes.
Okay. I've heard about it. It sounds interesting.
It's so good. I think it's what should win Best Picture. The movie I actually think should win Best Picture, but wasn't even nominated for anything, was Invisible Man with Elizabeth Moss, because everybody forgot about that. Movie's incredible. She's amazing. She should have been nominated. She should have at least been nominated for actress in a leading role. So that bummed me out. I don't have a bunch of things. Tenet, you and I both said we didn't think it'd be nominated for Best Picture. It got nominated for basically what we thought it should be.
Yeah, for what we thought, visual effects. Yeah.
Even though I still think the movie's awesome. And
I think it will. I think that it's likely to win visual effects just because of the fact that it's all practical and not CGI bullcrap.
Yeah.
I was looking over some of the other ones. The animated stuff, Onward with Pratt and Tom Holland, ironically.
Yes.
So some of those things. I really like The Trial of Chicago 7. I saw some people that thought that Borat was a snub for Best Picture, just because of everything. I don't know if that's accurate or not. Movies like that very rarely get nominated for Academy Awards.
I think that Maria Bakalova getting nominated for Best Actress in a Supporting Role is that's pretty much where it needed to be for that movie. I mean, yeah.
He got nominated for Best Supporting for Trial of Chicago
Yeah.
7. I really liked that movie. I don't think that it'll probably win anything. I saw some people. It's Aaron Sorkin.
Yeah.
People kind of said that like they can see his pretentiousness all over it, which is fine. I still thought it was a pretty solid film. But when are these? April, I think.
I believe so. Let me see.
Like early April.
I know they pushed it back this year.
Yeah, that's fine.
I love
don't know.
April 25th. Yeah.
Oh wow, it's still a ways away. Yeah, I mean we'll probably do some predictions and stuff before that.
we'll
I'll
definitely
maybe
have to.
I'll try to watch some of this other stuff if I get the chance. I don't know if I'll be able to. I've got to watch the Snyder miniseries.
Holy crap! That's upon
That's
us.
going to be nominated for the best Golden Globe for the best limited series.
I love that we'll go
next
from
year.
watching Falcon and the Winter Soldier to that. That'll be in the same discussion.
It will, and I have the reviews for the Snyder Cut that I've seen so far are so mixed.
Oh yeah.
And I think the reason why is because I don't know of another filmmaker other than Zack Snyder who you either love everything he does or you hate it.
Yeah.
Like I can't I mean I guess you could make the case for like Michael Bay or something like, oh man, I just like action and explosions, bro. But most people don't they want to see a movie with a little bit of depth. And so Michael Bay is but Zack Snyder, man, you either like it or you don't.
Yeah.
And there's no two ways about it. And the thing is I feel like I find myself more in the I like it camp because I love 300. I like Watchmen. I didn't hate Man of Steel, which that doesn't sound like a glowing endorsement, but considering how stupid I think Superman is, that is actually a pretty glowing endorsement.
Said that, yeah.
Right. And I'm one of the few people who actually, you and I have talked about this because you like it too, but I like Batman v Superman.
Yeah.
And so for me, and I haven't seen all of his stuff. I haven't seen like Sucker Punch, and I haven't seen Guardians, and I haven't seen Dawn of the Dead or whatever, but I kind of like all of his stuff.
I like Dawn of the Dead.
So I'm very interested to see if the Snyder Cut Justice League will win me over in a way, because I hated the 2017 one. I thought it was awful. It was
not optimal.
The Snyder, Whedon, Frankenstein that it was. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. But like you said, we'll do Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and then I'll spend the rest of the weekend this weekend trying to find time to.
Plus basketball's on this weekend.
Yeah, I don't care about that. But that is a good segue. March Madness begins this week, and just like everyone else, we are filling out our brackets here at the BXG. We're going to do an abbreviated breakdown of our best guesses as to what will go down over the course of the next few weeks. Let me qualify this. This is my relationship with college basketball right now. Pitt is my team. They lose a game. This is the Jason Capel era in a nutshell. They lose a game to a team that they shouldn't lose to. They lose to like Sisters Mary School for the Blind or whatever. Then they win the rest of their non-conference games. Then they make it into ACC play. They beat exactly one team that they should not beat, whether it's Florida State last year, UNC last year, I think, Duke this year, a couple other teams, here and there. I think they pushed Virginia at one point maybe. And then they get you feeling good. You know what I mean? They get you feeling good about, man, maybe this is the year that we can squeak in as like a 10 seed or even an 11 seed. And just kind of squeak in there. And then it's like, who's the worst team in the ACC? Wake Forest. Let's just go ahead and lose to them.
There you go.
And then allow the snowball effect to take hold. And then once the snowball effect hits, and like after they've lost like 5 games in a row, I'm just like, screw it, I don't care anymore. And so that's kind of my relationship with college hoops. But nonetheless, as you do, I've filled out a bracket. So we were going to do what? We were just going to break it down to our Elite Eight.
Elite Eight.
We weren't going to go through every.
No, Elite Eight to the championship.
Okay.
Plus, I mean, that kind of
however you want to.
I will say my relationship with college basketball, and you know that I was better part of our friendship all the time.
Right.
Biggest thing to me.
Yep.
The last couple years, really, I mean, you know, I would say this last year and this year have been my toughest years. You know, when I lived in Alaska, I could watch like every single college. I was maybe one of my better years of paying attention in a while. Last couple years, I just haven't been able to. I worked a lot of hours, and
Right.
the
And you're
big
on the West
games
Coast
the big games are on Saturdays, and I work Saturdays, and
Yeah.
you know, so I haven't had as good a relationship this year. You know, if I could catch a Michigan game, I'd catch a Michigan game. If I could catch a UNC game, I'd catch a UNC game, and then I would watch Gonzaga because they're on the West Coast and it's easy to catch them. I've been trying to catch up, like reading wise, and you know, seeing what's going on. I think I have a decent grasp on things. I know that Michigan losing Isaiah Livers is big to other people. I don't necessarily think it's a big thing to me because he's a good senior leader, but there's a hell of a lot of other good players on that team, and sometimes it's that we got to play for this guy effect. Just a little sneak preview going forward with me, but that's where I'm at. I think the Big Ten was really good this year from when I got to watch the Big Ten, and I never say that, even as a Michigan fan. I always think that the Big Ten is everybody else.
Garbage water.
Yeah, but I actually do think this year, and I got to watch a few Big Ten games. You know, I thought not only was the Big Ten good, it was actually fun to watch, which was weird.
A lot of heavy-legged white guys. In the Big Ten, typically.
Typically.
A lot of back screens.
A lot of back screens. I don't. Hey, in the actual
fundamental bounce passes.
In the actual scheme of basketball, like it's beautiful basketball.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is like it's like it isn't that actually.
It's in the sense of like this is how you're supposed to play the game.
Right,
Let's set some screens.
It's so fun.
Run to your spot. It's fundamentally, it's Tim Duncan. It's the Tim Duncan of leagues.
Yeah. It's not aesthetically pleasing.
Right. But this year is a little bit more fun. I mean, Michigan's different because Juwan Howard's a completely different kind of coach and maybe a new age of coaching. Michigan's fun to watch no matter what. But anyhow, let's go to the brackets.
Let's do this. All right. Take me. You take me. Take me to where you want to take me. I don't have the regions up. So.
Okay. So I'm just, we're just doing our Elite Eight to the championship. Is that how we want to do it? All right, so I have Gonzaga against Iowa, 1 and 2. I think that game is gonna be a barn burner because the three big guys for Iowa, mainly Garza, really just phenomenal team. I got to watch them a couple times. I really like them, but Gonzaga is insane. Their offense is one of the best offenses I've personally ever watched. I don't know what the competition is. Maybe in that entire league, and they're undefeated. And if they win every game, they're going to be 32-0, like the last team that won undefeated, the 1976 Indiana Hoosiers, coached by Bob Knight.
Shout out Bobby Knight.
Yep.
Shout
so
out.
We'll know. I mean,
love the general.
Sure. And I don't know what this means. I think Gonzaga comes away with that game. I do. And then I go. My boys in blue, Michigan against Alabama, and this is in football, Alabama. All right, Michigan's taking this guy. They're taking this one. I don't keep your football, Alabama. Michigan, no longer a football school. I'll just say that. That's where we're at now. They're a basketball school. Juwan Howard's done it. I think people are discounting Michigan because of Livers, and I'm not. I've watched a lot of them, and they've got a great team. They're gonna do things. I'm not concerned with Michigan right now. And then shooting down, I got. Illinois and San Diego State. San Diego State's my biggest, whatever, dark horse through this thing. Cinderella story. So San Diego State was really good last year. I think they lost like a player or two from last year's team, but I still think they're going to be good. I think their bracket kind of leads them to this, and they're going to go up against Illinois. Illinois is crazy good too. And they ended up winning the Big Ten championship.
D. Brown and Darren Williams.
Exactly.
Turn back
they
the
won the
clock.
Big Ten championship, and I think they're going to pull away with this one. And then maybe this is just because one of my good friends, I got Arkansas and I got Baylor going against each other, and I just instinctively just always hate Baylor in any sport all the time. Maybe it's because they have a terrible tradition of not taking care of like their players and coaches and doing things that they should do. Maybe that's it. Maybe they're just not a good school. Anyhow, I got the Razorbacks. I wore a Razorback hat in high school to basketball games. I'm going Razorbacks. Pig Suey! Over Baylor.
I'm pleased to say that I had a big part of ending that tradition.
You did have a part. Damn. That sucks. Yeah, you did have a part. I didn't cry that night, but I was pretty upset.
We rub a little salt
Right
there for you.
Those were fun times, though. Man, I wore a 1980s girls basketball jersey and a hog hat to games, and I didn't wash either one of those two things. They got pretty rank. But yeah, so there, my final four is Gonzaga, Michigan, Arkansas, and Illinois. So you want to go ahead, Brenton, yours?
I'm not going to give any context because I don't have any context. A lot of this is just, picking high seeds plus historical biases.
Sure.
Okay. So my Elite Eight in the first region is Virginia and Kansas. Tony Bennett, great singer.
Yeah.
Even better basketball coach.
Turns out.
Okay. In the second region, I have Michigan and Texas.
That's the COVID Bowl, by the way. Virginia and Kansas. Both teams, they're
played like no games.
COVID, yeah, big time. So we'll see.
So I have Michigan and Texas. So you're talking about guys being hurt. I have nothing. I have no insight. Okay, I have no insight whatsoever. Because I watched my Panthers until they weren't good anymore, and then I quit. Region number 3, I have Baylor and Ohio State. Again, that's just me picking chalk. Now, this one's where it gets wild.
All right.
Okay. Oklahoma State.
Whoa.
And they have the presumptive number 1 pick in the draft,
They do.
correct?
They do, yeah.
The guy that looks like that one comedian. I know that's super vague, but you get it. Now, this one, this is one of these things, right? My other pick, it's a case of -1 year. This team only does well when there's no expectations on them whatsoever. They made a run, I believe, at a similar seeding a couple years ago. And so for my other Elite Eight team, I'm taking the Syracuse Orange.
I knew you were going to say Syracuse. I knew it. That'd be insane.
I love Jimmy Boeheim.
You do.
That's my dog. I do love.
You love a zone.
I do love a 2-3, a solid 2-3. Maybe we can get Hakeem Warwick back. But that's my Elite Eight. My Final Four is I'm picking the comedian.
It's Cade Cunningham, and he looks like Eric Andre. Just so we want to clarify it next week.
Right. Yes. The dude from the meme where he's like shooting the guy, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the Eric Andre show.
Right. He looks just like him though. So I have him. I have Eric Andre taking down Carmelo Anthony, and I have Baylor prevailing over Ohio State. I have Michigan beating Texas, and I have Kansas beating Virginia. Rock Chalk Jayhawk.
All right. So for Final Four, I'm going to go Illinois. This is where I think the Razorbacks bow out. I'm taking the Illini. Too good.
Sorry, Phil.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Phil. But hey, I got you into the Final Four.
I got you into a lobster tank last week. So there's that.
And I'm sticking with the Big Ten here. This is Michigan. This is they're gonna beat Gonzaga. When they get this far, they're gonna beat Gonzaga.
I don't think Gonzaga plays anybody.
I don't think they do, but then they do play like San Diego State and BYU. And those are both teams that are good this year. They're teams that are good.
BYU's good because those kids are all 30.
Well, yeah.
They're playing against
They got
men.
a lot of Mormon rage. And then Michigan and Illinois in a Big Ten battle. Can't believe I'm doing this. I don't think I've ever had 2 Big Ten teams in the final. But I'm going Michigan.
You have rage too if you had to wear those little white ties.
If I didn't get to drink coffee,
little black ties.
If I couldn't drink coffee or beer, I would be rageful all the time.
going to people's houses. Can we
Yeah.
talk to you about the Latter-day Saints?
I'd be so
No.
full of rage. I got Michigan winning this thing. That's probably a little biased. I don't care. Michigan's really good. They're.
You have Michigan winning the whole shebang.
I got Michigan winning the whole shebang. Go Big Blue. Boom.
Yeah, I have them beating Baylor in the end.
Nice.
I have Michigan beating Kansas, and then I have Baylor beating Eric Andre.
The Eric Andre show.
Yeah, the thing about is he a freshman? Or what's
Cade
his-
Cunningham. I believe so. Yeah.
Okay. I like teams with senior leaders in tournament time. I think that's why that Wisconsin team beat the undefeated Kentucky team, however many years ago that was. I know that's going back a little ways whenever they had Frank Kaminsky and Keith Van Horn Jr., Sam Decker. It just seems like that's like a thing if you have like a couple like solid seniors or at least like juniors. But okay, so are we going to do a bracket on like ESPN or something?
Yes. I will
you
set
gonna
that
set-
up. Yeah.
You're going to set that up?
Yep.
All right. We'll put it on the social medias. But yeah, we'll see. That starts Thursday. Well, what playing games start Tuesday or
Thursday. It's Thursday, and then it's Friday through Monday. It's different this year. Yeah, it threw me off.
I don't like that. That's stupid. But I'm actually cool with that because Thursday's my long day of work and Friday's my short day, and I got a TV in the kitchen for reasons just like this. So
I'm gonna have to watch things on my phone, which is fine.
yeah, that's fine.
But I will. Yeah, I don't actually care about doing things like that ever.
Right. Yeah, I watched the season finale of WandaVision on my phone actually. But that's not
okay.
even there. Quick hitter time.
It's been too long. Well, it hasn't actually been that long now since we talked about Cyberpunk, but
Yeah.
here we go. Elon Musk, as we mentioned earlier, he criticized the lack of self-driving cars in Cyberpunk 2077. He's right. If there's not self-driving cars by 2077, and there already kind of are now.
Right.
Yeah.
Hits the nail right on the head. More Elon Musk being an eccentric billionaire news. He has officially given himself the title of Techno King at Tesla, with the chief financial officer being redubbed Master of Coin. The world needs more Elons.
You know,
I love all of this.
For the many faults of Elon Musk, even though I am a Tesla stockholder, a proud Tesla stockholder, he does get this sometimes where he's just like, this doesn't actually matter, these things.
Right.
So like whatever.
He just does bonkers. Like Elon, I feel like Elon Musk is he's what he is, but I feel like to a certain extent he's like if Bill Gates had a sense of humor,
right,
and wasn't just a robot, like
right,
he would be Elon Musk. Because Elon is just out here doing crazy stuff, saying crazy things like Cyberpunk. Like this is the guy who's taking us to Mars. Yes. And he has the time to redub his CFO Master of Coin and criticize Cyberpunk for not having enough self-driving cars. I am a big, I'm an Elon fan.
Yeah, me too.
So I am.
PS5 is the fastest dollar for dollar and dollar for donut selling console ever.
Yes, and it's still crazy difficult to find one of these. And
you sent me a link not that long ago, and I had to do something, so I couldn't immediately do it. I accidentally waited 5 minutes. Yeah, and that
was for like a bundle too. So
yeah, is what it is.
Yeah. Good luck. With the chip shortages and everything, I just think that it's still going to be. I know Kevin said that he thought by the fall, but I really don't think it's going to be until next spring that these are like you can walk into a store and buy a PS5. Like unless you're just like they just put it on the shelf and you walk in, it's not going to be like oh, let's take the kids down to the store and get a PlayStation. That's not going to be a thing until next spring. Yeah. The final trailer for Falcon and the Winter Soldier, as well as the Snyder Cut, have dropped. Both projects debut the day this show posts. Did you watch the final trailer for Falcon and the Winter Soldier?
Yeah, I'm so pumped.
Yeah, I think it's going to be more standard Marvel fare than what we got from WandaVision. I thought that there was an unnecessary amount of trailers for the Snyder Cut. Like each hero got their own trailer.
Yeah.
There was just like
makes me even more nervous and excited about it. This might be the first time I give a completely just like negative review, so that'll be fun.
Really? You think?
I just don't know.
I think it's.
It's
going to be perfectly fine.
It might be perfectly fine. I just like I don't know.
It's going to be.
I hope so.
Like,
here's the thing. I'm rooting for it to be good.
Sure. It's just like a regular cheese pizza from like Pizza Hut. You know what I mean? Like, you're not like, if somebody says yes. If somebody says, "Hey, there's Pizza Hut cheese pizza in the break room," well, I might as well have a slice. It's fine. It's fine. Like, this is going to be 4 hours of cheese pizza from Pizza Hut is what this is going to be.
It's gonna make your stomach feel weird.
That it is. Those things are greasy and do cause intestinal turmoil. Media recommendations from Gregarious Inc.
So watched The King of Staten Island, the Pete Davidson, Judd Apatow movie this past week. Really, really liked it. I like Pete Davidson anyhow. I mean, I like his stand up. He's definitely a weird guy to some extent, but this movie is like super good. And Bill Burr's in this, and I don't normally like Bill Burr because he plays Bill Burr. But he doesn't actually really play Bill Burr in this, and I found him actually good. I said this, I'm like, I can't believe that I like Bill Burr in this. And Pete Davidson, I think, is actually like a pretty, like what he is he's the kind of actor that knows his like limitations, and he can play into that. So I thought he was, good, and he's playing himself to some degree, but not the Pete Davidson that people think of. And it's semi-autobiographical and things like that about like, him growing up with his mom, who's Marissa Tomei, and his dad being out of the picture.
His mom's Marissa Tomei?
In the movie.
Oh.
Yeah. And then his dad had died, and, he in real life, his dad died in 9/11. He's a firefighter.
Right.
And so, that's brought up, and, it's funny. It's like, kind of like a lot of Judd Apatow movie. It's funny, but it still has a serious undertone and a serious note. So I thought that was really good. On a completely...
Pete Davidson looks like a created character in a video game that somebody screwed with the lips just a little bit.
Yeah, and that would be like the nicest thing Pete Davidson's ever said about himself. I mean, he's just, he's he has no problem making fun of himself, and he does in this movie, which is good. And then I don't know if you've ever watched like the Trip movies with Steve Coogan and Rob Brydon, two like very, very hilarious Englishmen. The Trip to Greece, which came out last year, we watched that, and it's just so funny. These movies have like a little serious notes here and there, but it's basically just these two guys driving around eating really good food and doing impressions. They do Michael Caine, they do Kane or Bane from Batman. It's just a lot of fun. It's pretty thoughtless for the most part. You can like, when it gets serious, you can kind of just look at your phone and, get away from it. But then when it go back to impressions, it's very funny.
Right.
Highway Women, listen to them. They're really good. It's Maren Morris and Brandy Carlisle, and I'm tripping on the last woman's name. But it's just like this, country super group. Amanda Shears and Natalie Hemby, they're also are in it. They're really good. They sound perfect. So I checked them out. They were up for Grammy. I think they won actually too. And then the thing that I'm really hooked on internet wise is I'm watching Claire Savitz, who worked for the New York Times, and she has a cookbook. It's called Dessert Person. She just makes really cool desserts and pretty accessible. And she's a lot of fun. She has a really good personality.
I'm a dessert person.
There you go. You'd like them, except it just it makes you so hungry though. I just watched her make like confetti cake, homemade confetti cake, and it was incredible.
Yeah. Bomb. Bravely Default 2, I'm about 24 hours in, so I'm putting a lot of time into that. I play it like a cow grazing, where I just kind of like, I just pick at it throughout the day. Like, I don't sit down and play it like, okay, I'm going to play this for 2 straight hours or even an hour, but I'll play it for like 10 minutes here, 15 minutes there, 20 minutes there, because it's on the Switch and it always stays up. You know what I mean? And it doesn't run up the game clock, which is, I'm obsessed with that. So like I have this game for the Vita, and typically the Vita wouldn't run your game clock up, but for whatever reason with this game it did. And I like checked my game time and it was like 999 hours. I'm like, oh, okay, well I guess I'm never playing this fucking thing again for just that reason. But so I just kind of pick at it throughout the day. I really I like it. It doesn't do anything super new, and the story's kind of blasé or whatever, but the combat system's pretty fun. It's like an old Final Fantasy game, basically.
Oh, that's cool.
Still kind of working my way through Ted Lasso. I'm getting down. Just with no spoilers, is there going to be a second season of that? Or do you think
they haven't
probably
announced
done?
it, but I would hope so. I mean, it's such a good show.
I've also been playing Tetris Effect. I've been going through this thing I was telling you about that I would scroll through, you're looking through your Netflix, just scrolling across one of the bars,
yes,
looking for something to watch, and then you just don't watch anything. And that's kind of where I'm at with the PlayStation right now, because it's so dry. Because nothing's come out. Nothing's come out in 4 months. And so I just keep winding up playing. I'll just play Tetris Effect until my eyes start watering, and then I go to bed. I did start listening to that Kiwanuka.
Yeah, what do you think?
Album. I like it.
Yeah, it's good.
It's good walking around music.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like I wouldn't put it on in a car to get amped up for a football game or something. But I mean, it's pretty chill, laid back.
We did it today where we're just driving around doing errands and stuff. It's good errand driving music where you just need something in the background, and he's got such a good voice. I love his voice.
Yeah, I went for a little walk yesterday because the weather was pretty nice, and I threw that on while I was walking, so
nice.
Kind of did it. I just started reading that third Aftermath book. I don't really have anything to say about it.
Fair enough.
At this time. So there's that. But that is pretty much it. BXG Podcast posts every Friday at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 4 a.m. Pacific, 2 a.m. Hawaiian, 3 a.m. Aleutian Islands. Anything funny to say about the Aleutian Islands?
No.
Okay.
I will, though. I'll figure out something.
Figure something out.
Yep.
Podcast services around the globe: Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor, Twitcher, Podbean. Twitcher's not a thing. Stitcher is, though. YouTube.com/BXG Podcast, where you can catch all of our movie reviews, and any reviews that we do are going to go up on the YouTube. So this week will be Cherry, and don't watch that movie.
Cherry bomb.
So many times did I do that over the course of the last few days. No joke. So I'm right there with you. We want to thank Kevin from Project X Talk for coming on and, like I said, giving us a little bit of education about the Xbox and, kind of promoting that and some of the good things. And, go and check their podcast out on their YouTube videos on Sundays at around 11. And that was fun. And, like we said, we're trying to have more guests on and that sort of thing. So I thought it went well. I had a good time. But
if you know anyone, let us know. If you know anyone that would like to be on the show that's creating content out there, and they want to get heard or whatever, or, whatever, let us know.
Right. Yeah, Bob Sacamon, his wife, has a YouTube channel up. I don't have it, so I'm not going to say what it is. Maybe I will next week. I told him that since she's creating content, she's eligible to be a guest, but we'd have to alter our schedule because she's usually in bed by 4 o'clock in the morning or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm sorry. She's a early to bed, early to rise type. So,
fair enough.
I'll, whatever. But I mean, we're always looking for guests, especially people who are in pop culture or whatever. But I think we'd be open to doing some other stuff. What do you think?
Sure.
Yeah. But follow us on Instagram at BXG Podcast, Twitter at BXG Podcast, Facebook.com/BXG Podcast, at GTFills, at Y2B on Instagram, and Twitter. Yours is GTFills on Twitter, though, right?
Yeah.
But Twitter's whatever. We're not big tweeters. We're not tweets. If you tweet, you're a twit, I always say.
There you go.
I gotta lay off the Elmers, man.
Yeah.
Tell your family, tell your friends, tell your family.
Tell your mothers
About the unmistakable essence of the BXG podcast.
Thanks for listening.
Take care, friends.
Love you guys.